I would like to call up Past President Roy Lave. Hopefully he's somewhere. Yes, there he is. Everyone becomes like a blur when you get up here, so hopefully that won't happen to our speakers today. So please welcome Roy. He is the moderator for this, so anything he says goes, okay? No applauding. Thank you.
Okay, everybody put $100 on the table. It was a great opportunity. Okay, a general election is coming up on November 4th. There are a number of things on the ballot. I don't think the ballot statements, the sample ballots have come out yet, but there are going to be a lot of things on the ballot that we should be interested in. And one item we're going to talk about today. So if you live in Los Altos or Los Altos Hills, your children may be served by the elementary public school, Los Altos School District, or you may go to school in Cupertino, or you may go to school in Palo Alto. Some children living in Mountain View go to school in the Los Altos School District schools. And of course, we have other options of private schools and a charter school. So the political boundaries, as we learned last week during the finding, are quite different than the cities and the town and the school districts. School districts actually were formed about 50 years before either the city or the town incorporated. And then when the city and town incorporated, of course, they didn't pay any attention to the boundaries, and maybe it was actually too late to do so. So they don't coincide, and that's why our kids in Los Altos may go out to other districts for school, which causes some issues at some times. We're going to talk today about the Los Altos School District, which operates 9 schools, into which most, I think, of the kids in Los Altos and Los Altos Hills attend. The district actually has 2 issues on the ballot, and I'm not going to steal the thunder of our speakers, but one is a bond issue, and the other is an election for members of the Los Altos School District Board of Trustees. There are 5 candidates for 3 spots, so we have a competitive election. So we've asked the speakers to speak for 5 minutes, which are going to be timed by this machine that's in front of Valerie, and Valerie is the timekeeper. And I figured that Valerie, as a former mayor, knew how to keep time and cut people off when appropriate. So the speakers, I say, when you're speaking, you'll see a green light, and when you see a yellow light, you have 30 seconds to wrap up. And please try to stay on time. We may, because we got started early, have an opportunity to have a question, which I made up. Well, I think I told Valerie, and she didn't object. So we don't really have time to do round robins on questions, so that's the way we'll go. So I just introduced speakers by name. It's up to them to tell you everything they want you to know about them. And the first speaker, randomly selected, is Sangeeth Paruri. Sangeeth?
No applause.
And no applause, except for me, if you want to do that. Sangeeth.
How's that for volume? All right. So thank you so much for inviting me here today. The Rotary Club of Los Altos has done so much for our community. I'm honored to be able to spend this time with you. The Rotary Club has a special place in my heart. In some ways, without the Rotary Club, I would not be here today. After I left Brown University, I was awarded a Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarship to study in India. It was during this year that I met Sindhu, my future wife. We just celebrated our 15th anniversary this past week. Sindhu was the one that convinced me to move to California. And today I stand before you talking about running for the Los Altos School Board of Trustees. So why am I running for the Los Altos School Board? Why is this race important? I have one word for you: opportunity. It's an opportunity for you, me, our community, our children. The first opportunity I see is healing the community. After years of back and forth, the LASD and BCS boards have unanimously agreed to sign a 5-year agreement and end all litigation. Tammy, thank you so much for the countless hours you spent bringing this about. It's truly a remarkable achievement. In my mind, the 5-year agreement with BCS can be a starting point of wonderful things to come. I would like to find ways for all the schools in Los Altos, public, private, and charter, to collaborate. I've spent the last few years getting to know board members of LASD and BCS, as well as council members in Los Altos Hills, and Mountain View. By understanding the other person's perspective, it's amazing what you can accomplish. The second opportunity I see is the upcoming school bond. Despite declining birth rates, new families continue to flock to our district. One of the unique things about the Los Altos School District is that all 9 of our schools are outstanding. A crucial ingredient of our success is the size of our schools. When I visit our schools, I'm always amazed how close the communities are. The principals know the names of almost all of their children. The parents, teachers, and students are friends. It's almost like an extended family. I don't want to risk what we have by letting our schools get too large. The upcoming bond is our opportunity to ensure that we have adequate facilities to serve our kids today and tomorrow. If we think outside the box and employ multiple-story construction, I think it's feasible to upgrade our schools, acquire land, and build 2 new school sites, one for the district and one for the charter school. The third opportunity I see is for the district to capitalize on the culture and team that Jeff Baer has put in place. We are fortunate to have an amazing superintendent driving our district forward. The district recently completed its education blueprint, basically the 5-year plan for the district. If you haven't seen it, it's a wonderful piece of work. Many have asked me, what do you think is important to teach our kids, and why do you like this blueprint so much? One of the most important things we can teach our kids is an ability to adapt. If something is hard, or they fail a test, we want them to get back up. We want them to crave challenge and not feel failure. I grew up with learning disabilities myself. Up until the 4th grade or so, school was really a struggle. Getting through that was one of the most important experiences of my life, so I decided to research whether building perseverance was something we could teach in school. In my research, I came across the work of Carol Dweck at Stanford and her research on developing a growth mindset. I felt this was one of the best ways to develop perseverance in children. So we decided to pilot the program at Covington last year. After we completed the pilot, I was excited to see that one of the 7 learning principles that the district adopted in their education blueprint was developing a growth mindset in children. I'm fortunate that my background lines up well with what our district needs today. During my career as an investment banker, venture capitalist, and investment manager analyzing thousands of companies, I've seen firsthand what it takes to lead to success or failure. I was a successful investor and was able to grow the fund that I founded to over $1 billion in assets, but I always wanted to give back. So in 2012, I decided to retire from the investment industry and focus my efforts on education. Since then, I've spent the majority of my time working with lower-income districts to improve the educational outcomes of kids around California. My work includes serving on the board and running the program committee of the Boys and Girls Club in Redwood City in East Palo Alto, as well as serving on the board of Beyond 12, whose mission is to increase the college graduation rates of lower-income students. Within the district, my work includes being on the Covington Site Council, the EVP of our PTA, and serving on the district's technology and curriculum committees, as well as being appointed to the CACF. If elected to the Los Altos School Board of Trustees, my hope is that my experience in and outside the district will benefit the kids in our community. So when you vote in November, think opportunity, think Sangeeth Peruri, an opportunity to heal our community, and an opportunity to build more facilities to preserve what we have, an opportunity to experiment and innovate and take our district to the next level. With your support, we can continue to provide a world-class education for our kids today and tomorrow. Thank you.
There's no way that is ever followed. That was pretty good, though. Next speaker is Martha McClatchy.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me here for lunch. My name is Martha McClatchy, and I live in Los Altos. I am an accountant, a wife, a mother, and a volunteer. Let me tell you why I am running for school board. I care about all the students in the district. Our big issue in this election is growth. Los Altos School District has 2 fewer schools than we had in the 1970s, and we are back up to the same number of students. Several of our schools are bursting at the seams, and we can expect at least 150 more kids from new development. If we wait too long to build for these kids, we will spend more, we will get less, and we will jeopardize our great public school reputation. We need to build now. I want the voters among you to hire me to manage this growth. The bond language, as written, is vague. When I first read it, I was very ambivalent. But it has to be written this way to get it passed. That leaves us with a problem. We are writing a check for $150 million to 5 people. We need our school board to be paragons of financial prudence. We need people who can get things done. This reminds me of my time at Clarent. In 1997, Clarent had 10 employees, and I became number 11. Over the next 3 years, we grew the company to 1,000 employees and moved 3 times. Prior to our IPO, budgets were tight. As Senior Director of Finance, I had to make hard choices to manage the growth with the money we had. Going into Clarent, I had been a CPA at 2 of the Big 4 public accounting firms for 7 years. I had worked on projects at Cisco, Adobe, and Silicon Graphics. I had also been an audit manager at GE Commercial Finance. These experiences prepared me for Clarent, just as my Clarent experiences had helped me prepare to be an LASD trustee. After 17 years in industry, I made the transition to marriage and parenthood. I have spent the last 12 years raising my 3 daughters and volunteering in our community. I enjoy direct contact with the kids. I have done classroom reading at Castro School in Mountain View. I have volunteered with field trips, library, hot lunch, and even yard duty. I enjoy leadership. I have directed 2 summer camps for at-risk youth and led 4 Girl Scout troops over the last 8 years. I have mentored over 70 new adult volunteers as Girl Scout leaders. I have been the treasurer and the financial secretary of the Oak Elementary School PTA and the treasurer of the Bullis Parissima Elementary School Foundation. 4 years ago, I co-founded Educacy, a 501c3 nonprofit serving Bay Area public school children. 3 years ago, I volunteered on both the LASD Blueprint Strategy Group and the Bullis Charter School Long-Term Strategic Plan. I am the only candidate who has helped develop the strategic direction of both LASD and BCS. I am currently a director of the Kiwanis Club of Los Altos and its chair of membership. Like all of you, I understand the value, importance, and joy of community service. The job of trustee faces not simply spending $150 million to deal with growth. The district currently has $97 million of debt, and in 2020 will have an annual $3.2 million pension liability. Our job as trustees is to grow capacity, keep quality programs, balance the budget, and preserve our stellar reputation. I can't give you a grand statement to solve all 4 of these today. This is going to require attention to detail, conversations with stakeholders, and building consensus. It's a lot of work, and I am ready to serve. In summary, I want you to vote for the bond, and I want you to elect me to manage it. Thank you.
The third speaker is Vladimir Ivanovich. There you are.
Good afternoon. My name is Vladimir Ivanovich, and I'd like to thank you, the Rotary Club, for this opportunity to introduce myself as a candidate for the Los Altos School Board. I have 2 children at Gardner Bullis in 2nd and 4th grades, and I've been here only for 7 years, but I'm no less committed to Los Altos than many of you are. I'm invested in this community and in public education. I bring some unique experience that is especially relevant for a school board trustee. I regularly attend school board meetings, and I've done so for nearly 4 years. And from these meetings, I've gained firsthand knowledge of the issues that the district faces. This will be my 4th year that I've been on the board-appointed Citizens Advisory Committee for Finance, the CACF, and the last 2 I've been its chair. As you may know, this committee has oversight responsibilities, but most importantly, the committee is tasked with creating a 6-year financial projections and to look forward to identifying critical issues and factors affecting the district. The CACF membership has given me a unique perspective on how we can move forward. I also serve on the CACF's enrollment subcommittee, so I'm very familiar with the effects of enrollment on our schools. At the school level, I've served on the Gardner-Bullis Technology Committee, its site council, the science fair team, and of course the PTA. Community-wise, I'm both a girls and a boys soccer coach, and I've coached t-ball and baseball. I mention these activities because I really want you to know that I have a great deal of experience in district affairs, that I really enjoy children, and that I'm willing to put in the time and the effort to make this great school district even better. I'm running for school board because I want to bring a much-needed attention to student achievement. The current board hasn't been able to do so because they've been consumed with dealing with the Bullis Charter School. But now that we have a 5-year agreement, a truce with BCS, it'll allow us to focus on what's really important. How well are we preparing our children for life's challenges? So what do I mean by student achievement? Ultimately, we want our children to be successful on their own terms, to be valued members of society, to lead fulfilled lives. So we teach them things they ought to know, we teach them how to do things, we teach them how to respect others and care for others, and more importantly, we teach them how to learn. This is what I mean by student achievement. I believe there are 3 things the board should do to maintain and enhance student achievement: provide adequate and stable financing, provide great facilities, and continue innovating and enhancing our curriculum. Let me take these one at a time. First, without adequate and stable financing, we can't successfully engage in multi-year programs. Our vision is limited just to the year ahead. Adding and then cutting programs does no service to either our children or to our teachers. And if we want to innovate, stable financing is a must. Second, without great facilities, which includes technology, how we teach is going to be limited. And to that end, I support an open, transparent, cooperatively developed, long-term facilities master plan, and also the bond measure to support it. Our small neighborhood model has served us well, and I don't think now is the time to abandon it. And instead, what we should do is expand it to include all neighborhoods, especially those north of El Camino. And third, we need a great curriculum. We're in the midst of switching over to a Common Core-based curriculum that incorporates the 4 C's of 21st century learning: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Without a great curriculum and without the great teachers teaching a great curriculum, our children won't have the tools necessary to be successful in high school and beyond. Schools are more than just places that children learn. They form the nucleus of a vibrant community. They're the reason many of us moved here. They're also a great community asset. The Los Altos School District traces its roots to 1909 and has served this community well through locally elected school boards managing locally supported public schools. Although I'm relatively new to the district, I believe in the public school model that has served this community so well. In conclusion, my experience, my knowledge, my passion are the needed attributes for a trustee of this school, and I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you. Applause.
Fourth candidate is John Swan.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Rotary, for inviting me to come and speak with you today. Our community is at a very critical juncture. For over a decade, we've been just embattled in a legal pursuit that really the only ones that have benefited have been the lawyers. It's time to move on and really form a true partnership for the future of our kids. I've got, there's many ways to do it, and I think it's important that we have a strong leader that can unite the community. Secondly, we need somebody with strong fiscal management skills that can take us forward. And lastly, I think we need innovation we're looking today to teach our kids for what they need in a globally competitive environment in the future. I grew up in a dairy farm in western Pennsylvania. My dad had to work in the coal mines to subsidize our income. My mother was a public school teacher, and I'm a living example of what a foundation can do with the right public education. I went on to gain a bachelor's in physics, a master's in engineering, and an MBA. Now, because of that, GE hired me. I managed $100 million plus budgets over my career, and I had to make difficult decisions when we had economic downturns in the economy. I worked for Mitsui. We put together high-tech joint ventures, and because of those joint ventures, the parallels that we have in our community today, we had a lot of situations where we'd bring in partners initially, and we couldn't come up with a common objective. So we had to work through and come up with objectives that we could all work to that was in everyone's best interest. My wife Linda and I have lived in the school district for 26 years. Our 2 children attended Bullis Purisima, Bullis Charter School. We had Egan and Los Altos High School. I am very passionate about improving publication, as I feel like I'm giving back. I sit on the board foundation of the West Valley Mission College Community School District. I was on San Jose State's foundation board, and I've been a director on the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair. This is the largest science fair in the world. And last year, I was one of 12 members who sat on the LSD Superintendent's Enrollment Growth Task Force. So we, as a region, we should be very proud of our public schools, and we can do more. Education is much, much more than just getting a high score on a test. Let's tap into Silicon Valley's vast resources to encourage critical thinking. When I was on the Intel Science Fair, we partnered with Silicon Valley companies, and the impact that those had on thousands of public school kids was incredible. And we did this by leveraging off the innovation and resources of Silicon Valley companies. So one of my key themes is going to be, we're sitting in the innovation capital of the world. Let's form partnerships so we can form critical thinking and what I call experiential learning. Now, it's been shown that experiential learning is where the passion for your spark for passion of your career is evolved. And it's really in the K through 6 period where we need to plant those seeds. In November this year, LASD taxpayers are going to be asked to pass a $150 million bond. We need this bond to provide additional school capacity. We have a good problem, and that is the demand for our schools are so high that people want to move to this area. So I'd like to handle those bonds with very insightful oversight and meaningful input from the community. And I'd like to end with an invitation to this Rotary Club. In the 1980s was your finest hour from my perspective. With the AIDS epidemic raging, your club initiated a dialogue with not only this community, but with the rest of the world. Your video, the Los Altos story, changed the whole dialogue into a positive constructive dialogue. What I would like to challenge you today is to apply that same methodology, and let's develop a community discussion on how we can reinvent public education in our world. Thank you very much, and I would appreciate your vote in November.
Fifth candidate is Tammy Logan.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here. And I'm going to go off topic. In light of the President's question session earlier, I have a question for you. Because 23 years ago on Sunday, my husband and I celebrated our wedding right here. And there was a very well-known, all-woman bluegrass band that performed for us then, who's received a Grammy, and I have, wait a minute, $23. If anyone knows the name of that all-woman bluegrass band, because I didn't know much about the rock and roll. I can give you choices. Was it the Waybacks? Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys? I'm making it easy. Or Side Saddle? There we go. Who gets the money? To you later. I couldn't resist. Sorry, I do have a way of going off topic. But I think I know a lot of you, and I've been on the school board for almost 5 years now, because we decided to save money for the district by moving elections to an even year, and that added an extra year to our terms. I think the city did the same thing. It's been a very successful 5 years, and one of the first things I want to make sure I do is to also thank Francis Leopold. He was part of the committee that negotiated our 5-year agreement, and I'll tell you, it was a committee. It took a joint effort. There were times we didn't like each other, but we stuck through it till all kinds of hours of the morning, and we got it done. And we got it done because that's what is important for the kids in our community. So that's one of the major things we've done. But in spite of some of what you hear, we really did what I think is our biggest accomplishment since I've been on the board, is to hire Jeff Baer. I don't know how many of you know him, but he really is a rock star of superintendents. And despite the distractions and the time consumption that he's had to put into working on facilities issues, he's still managed to bring our teachers into, we've had great teachers all along. They've been brought into more of a modern way of thinking. The enthusiasm in the district among the staff has been renewed. We are reapproaching lesson plans. We had to because of Common Core, but they're doing it in a way where it's not a forced thing. You have to go in and do it, and let's make it a grind. They're excited. I would invite you to come out September 18th at 6:30. We're having an EduCon kickoff, which is an event that this will be, I think, the second year the district has hosted. We have some fabulous authors that have come to speak. It's going to be at the Mountain View CPA. And it would be a great event if you want to learn what has been going on in the district for the past 5 years, and more, actually. Also, over the last 5 years, we've increased the budget reserve. We are now at a very healthy level. The 6-year projections, as Vladimir pointed out, and he's worked hard on, do have us going into problems. It's generally always the case with our budgets. But I think we're in a very healthy situation. The state has not helped by the significant level of STRS funding increases that we're looking at. The district has also achieved a significant amount of national recognition. The reason we're able to bring in these great authors is because people recognize the great work we're doing. We have to reject pilot requests because we cannot impact the kids to that degree in order to experiment with everyone in the valley's pilots. It's not that we wouldn't like to, but we do that in a very controlled way, and it's worked very well. We've opened up STEM labs, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, for all of you that don't know all the buzzwords. And all of our kids in elementary school get to do that. All of our 6th graders are learning programming. And we've increased and added new electives in the junior high schools, including something called My 14%, that's modeled after Google's My 10%, where you take your time and you do something that's your passion. And we have kids that are doing it great. I'm running out of time because I have so much to say that's wonderful about the district. And I think that I deserve re-election because we have done a good job. Our board's made significant progress, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today to tell you about it. It's wonderful that the other candidates have great ideas too and want support measure in. I think I have 6 seconds, so thank you, and I hope to get your vote in November or earlier.
Well, if the candidates would join me up here, you can applaud them.
picture. Absolutely. Group hug here.
Okay, you'll be published in our newsletter. Wait, come back. Tammy, come back. So it's always hard to do questions when you have little time, so we're going to try something a little bit different. I'd like to ask, and some of the candidates mentioned this in their talk, so they may have to repeat. I'd like to ask each candidate what the role of the charter school is in the long run, starting in inverse order, so Tammy would be first.
Well, my dream has always been for the charter school is that it's more tightly integrated with the district, where we can, in a very positive way, move kids when they need to move from one school to the other in order to serve that kid in a classroom setting that's best for them. So long term, I hope we get there. I will say we had a great quarterly meeting yesterday, which was the first one after the agreement. I think we're on the road to improving relationships significantly.
John? So this is the downside of being at the end. I think the charter, instead of viewing it as an enemy, I think we need to view it as our innovation lab. If we have one enemy between us, it's the 2,300-page ed code. Micromanaging education from Sacramento or Washington, D.C. doesn't work. The charter has much more flexibility in developing curriculum, so let's use them as our innovation lab and make all the schools better.
Vladimir?
I've suggested in the past that the Bullish Charter School could be a magnet school within the district, and I believe that that's one option that we could consider. And the good thing about it is that if we did do something like that, I think a lot of the differences that we have would simply vanish. They'd be part of the district, and they'd grow with the district, and we would grow with them.
The role of the charter school in the district, I think everyone's aware that it's been around for about 10 years now. It's grown from 150 students to over 700. There are over 500 families in Los Altos Hills, Mountain View that are a part of the charter school. So I believe that the charter school is a school of choice that's here to stay in the district. And we have to figure out the fear, uncertainty, doubt that people have around the charter school and why they might have that fear. And we have to try to eliminate it. So I hope to be elected to sort of bridge be a bridge. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really excited with the 5-year agreement that was signed between the LASD School Board and the BCS Board. I've been endorsed by members of both the LASD and BCS boards, and I'm hoping that will allow us to bring cooperation together. What I'm really excited about is to see what types of collaboration we can have between the charter school and the district. I'm not yet sure what the right solution is. I want to get feedback from the community as well as both boards. I think questions we should be asking ourselves is, does it make sense for the charter school to be a charter of the district? Does it make sense for the charter school to be a choice school of the district? I think there's a lot of opportunities. I don't have all the answers yet, but that's what I'm excited about. Thank you.
So, I mean, the future is a little uncertain depending on what happens in the bond issue, but one option for dealing with the growth is to change the configuration of the grades in the school, so in fact 6th, 7th, and 8th graders went to the same school. It's a little unfair to drop this on you, but I'd like you to weigh in on what you might think about that idea, starting with Vladimir.
There are educational reasons for changing, and there are non-educational reasons for changing. And the last assistant superintendent for curriculum did a study of this in California and found that most school districts change their configuration for non-educational reasons. Unfortunately, changing the configuration is simply not going to solve our enrollment growth. We need a bond. We need a bond, and we need now. So I ask you all to support the bond, and we can move forward.
John?
Yeah, this is going to be a very volatile topic because it's going to require redistricting because parents are going to have to move. But Palo Alto does a 6 through 8 program. I think there are other school districts that have integrated it. What we're finding out from a brain science standpoint is that kids do not advance in a 12-month calendar year. Kids have almost a 5-year span. So a first grader could be reading at a 3rd grade level, or it could be reading at a 3-year-old level. There is a big span. So how we arbitrarily link them together, in my mind, it's really not a 6 through 8 program. It's individualized learning. And I think we have the technology now where a teacher that has 20 children in their class, with technology, we could come up with 20 different curricula to address all the students' needs.
He's randomized. So I have to mostly agree with Vladimir. I think that it may happen that we will go to a 6 to 8 model. I've had lots of conversations with Jeff about it, and he's got me convinced that educationally it makes sense for those children to have the opportunity to move between specialist teachers as opposed to general certification teachers, and to have elective opportunities that they don't have in the elementary school. The downside to me on that is that we have fabulous, not just good, we have fabulous junior high schools. They both are up for blue ribbon schools this year. There were only 39 in California, and we have 2. And that's in all the schools, not just junior highs. So I don't want us to disrupt those. The other problem we have, as I think Vladimir said, we need a bond no matter what. Right now, we can't even choose to do that because there's no space on our junior highs right now for those students. We would have to move Bullis somewhere else. If we move Bullis and close another school, which some people think is a great idea, we simply move all those students into the other schools and then they're crowded again. It doesn't really solve the problem. So we really need another independent facility that could be on an existing campus, and it could be somewhere else. And we have to look at that. That's why we have a committee to work on that. I'm taking too long. I can see Roy looking impatient. Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. Just from a personal experience, I grew up in Massachusetts, and during the time of my junior high school and elementary school experience, our schools were in a growth mode as well, and our 6th graders moved to junior high school. And as personal experience as well, having a 7th grader, I can see how 6th grade, kids are ready to move on and take that big step and really be a part of a larger organization and a more mature learning style. I would support the superintendent's research on this topic, and in addition to being, if it's educationally appropriate for children, I think it would help our district in terms of its overcrowding of facilities on the current elementary school campus. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been doing a lot of research on this topic. I've been interviewing principals and teachers and parents and students around this, the benefits of having a 6 through 8 model versus a 7 through 8 model. I have not yet made a conclusion. Some of the positives that you would get if you had a 6 through 8 model is we do find some of the kids in the district are finding that they need more of a challenge in 6th grade. And if you had a 6 through 8 model, you could offer more richer electives for those students. Cons that I see, the maturity levels of 6th and 8th graders are not the same, and so I do wonder if that has consequences. Also, the thing that's really special about our schools in Los Altos, if you compare it versus surrounding districts, it's rare to find districts where parents want to send their kids to every single school in the district. And that's not true of most of the surrounding districts. And I think a big reason for that is the size of our schools. And I do have to weigh that concern that if we were to have a 6 through 8 model, we would have significantly larger middle schools. So I'm still researching the subject. I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Thank you.
Okay, let's show our appreciation for all the candidates.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Val. And I also want to thank all of you. You can have a seat. And I do want to say hi to Shiv. It's nice to see you here. So our quote today that has to do with Light Up Rotary: education is not the filling of the pail, but the lighting of the fire. And that comes from William Butler Yeats. So everyone, have a good week. Remember to keep the beat and light up Rotary. This meeting's adjourned.